Let us know if you can hear us.
Good God.
Let's see. Yeah, baby.
I think
There's the audio.
Let's go.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Techno Kings podcast. I have to say, we're really good at this.
Yeah. Only
Really
200 more episodes.
We are short a Jimmy and a Nick today. So hence the technical difficulties. But like I said, it's not a classic one without it. What's up, guys?
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Yeah. Welcome to the chat.
Tom
Thank you
just
for
had the time of
enjoying
his life.
the crotch shot. So for those of you that aren't watching live or aren't watching the YouTube, Eric got up to fix our audio, put his crotch directly into the camera.
You're welcome.
Had no idea, was called out, followed by Steven, who thought, what a wonderful idea. I'd love to explore the same
This room is very
opportunity.
cold, for the record.
I was in the pool.
Got up and did the same. And now here we are. Yeah. So, Nick, we missed you. I gave a whole rant about it when I thought the audio was working. But Nick is out in Las Vegas.
That was a good rant. That was a good riff. And
Can't
we just,
recreate it, but we'll tell you what, Nick,
fumbled
we
the
miss
bag.
you. Hope you're enjoying the tables.
Hope the craps tables are kind.
I hope they are kind too. I know there's a whole group there.
Hell of a business trip.
Yeah, hell of a business trip. I've been to that event. It's called
Affiliate Summit.
Affiliate Summit.
I've been there
Yeah.
several years. I don't even do affiliate. I just like to party.
Yeah. It's pretty wild. The last time I went, these guys were still like, doing the bottles.
Popping bottles in the club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, taking out tables at, I don't even remember the
Affiliate
names of
Summit's
these
like
clubs.
it's like the
Hakkasan
Mos
and-
Eisley of wait, you guys aren't Star Wars fans, huh? Never mind.
Yeah, sorry.
Just gonna drop that reference.
Mos Eisley.
Yeah. But you've done it, right?
Yeah.
Is that where Jabba lives? Jabba the Hutt?
There are a few Jabbas there. You can see them at the club.
Okay, so I
Very
do
rotund.
know. I know some Star Wars.
Look at you,
Yeah, I know some
man of
stuff.
culture.
So Josh wants to know what we're drinking today. So yeah, Josh, this is something I brought today. It was my turn this week. This is called Pampero rum. It's an extra añejo. And
It is smooth, baby.
yeah, you guys like it? Comes in
I like it. I like rum
fancy
a
little-
lot. I like rum a lot.
little baggage.
You called it a ball sack.
That was off air. Comes in a fancy little thing. Makes for a nice gift. Price is right. I think it was about $45, and the presentation delivers.
And this thing's
the taste delivers.
Aged 25 years by the cap.
I don't.
Well, it said 25
know
on
if
the
that's
cap.
True.
On the
You
cap,
can
it said
get
25.
extra añejo
Okay.
rum for $40.
Yeah.
This thing is very
Very good.
very
Very
smooth.
Inflation is not.
Reason I got it
struck the rum
is
market
I was reading about rums and I saw that this was like the highest. Usually I go for like Flor de Caña.
Oh, I like that
or
one.
Brugal, or Diplomatico, which is my personal favorite.
You're making me want to go to False
But
Idol after this.
happy to go to False Idol with you, sir. But read that this is the highest rated, and people are raving about it. So Pampero.
Yeah, we don't do enough rum.
We
That's
haven't
like-
done rum ever on the
We
pod.
haven't. I don't know why. Because I prefer rum over mezcal, over tequila,
It's just so easy.
over bourbon.
Damn.
Do you?
Yeah.
Rum is so underrated.
Maybe not over Scotch and Japanese whiskey,
No,
but like right
no.
up there. Yeah, rum's super underrated.
No.
I agree. A fine choice, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, curious if anyone in the chat or the community has any favorite rum recommendations. But let's kick this thing off. So, welcome everybody to the Alfalfa Podcast. We're for entrepreneur and investor friends seeking the edge in money and meaning. We are Eric Johansson, Steven Cesaro, Nick Urbani's out of town. I am Armand Asadi. Hello to the chat. You can support the pod by becoming an Alfalfa member with a monthly or one-time donation. Head to alfalfapod.com, or the link is in the show notes. Thank you for helping us fund this podcast. It makes it even more fun. Everything goes back to the podcast.
Yeah,
You can get your comment.
Armand needs a new chair.
I was in a
by
flow
the
there.
way.
Hold on.
Armand's chair
Oh, I do
fund
need- okay,
is
yes,
open
I do
now.
need a new
His
chair.
enormous ass broken the cushion.
Okay.
Before we went live, and in between the lives, I was getting body shamed
Yeah.
by Eric for having a six-pack. Who
Dude,
says that my BMI, I feel like Rectum would have my back on
so
this.
if you're breaking the chair, I feel like,
BMI is a flawed number.
well, we're focusing on the BMI. I'd like to focus on the chair that you just break by
The
sitting
chair
down.
doesn't lie. The chair is withering. This
I know.
chair.
But like, I feel like everybody else's chair is okay.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe
Nick's-
someone I don't
Nick's
know
chair
about.
is definitely good as new.
Maybe this is a whole ploy.
I
Maybe
think Nick weighs like 96 pounds.
yeah, it probably does. Maybe someone's been sitting in my chair in off pod hours.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the
Just
program.
floating on air over here.
Yeah, get your comment on the live stream with any donation above $9. Shout out to everybody out there in general. We love you guys. We appreciate you. I just want to make sure that you know that this means a lot to us that you guys show up here every week. Way you can support the pod as well is share a recent episode with a friend. Make sure you're obviously subscribed. Like the video right now on YouTube. And quick shout out to our sponsor as well, ZBiotics. So that's one of our favorite bits of alfalfa we've had on the podcast is ZBiotics. We actually reached out to them because we liked it so much. ZBiotics is a pre-alcohol probiotic that helps you not feel like shit the next day, and it actually works. Head to zbiotics.com/alfalfa. You'll get 15% off for using our code alfalfa. Don't spell it wrong. When you feel like shit in the morning, it's not dehydration. It's a toxic byproduct, and ZBiotics breaks this down. It was invented by PhD microbiologist Zach Abbott. We had him on the podcast. It was a great episode.
Brilliant guy.
Cool dude.
Brilliant guy. Look that episode up. I want to say it was 156 or something like that. We don't drink without it, and this eliminates those post-drinking days where you're just completely wiped, not productive, not able to get it, not able to get that workout. It's worked for us, so check it out. Reminder to everybody, it does have a money-back guarantee, which is really awesome. zbiotics.com/alfalfa. So we've got a lot of stuff to get through today. Not to get through, that's the wrong language. A lot of stuff to dig into.
To explore.
To explore, yeah. Let's swim in the messy gray, boys. This is going to be a fun one. A lot of stuff to react to. How are you feeling, Steven? I sense an energy. I want you to
feel
release
good.
it. Give it to me in a sound.
You might not be aware, but a big thing happened today.
What happened?
A huge thing happened today.
What happened?
The prodigal son has returned to the Discord.
Shout out to Marty McFly.
Marty McFly's back?
back.
Marty
baby.
McFly is back.
Wow. This is groundbreaking news.
People that aren't in our Discord are like, why do you guys talk about the people in your community all the time? Well, if you joined our community, you'd understand. It's a wild place.
I'm glad he came back because I was literally about to purchase like a custom missing poster to like put on the
Like a milk carton?
yeah, like have you seen me? Like
I was about to send him a handwritten letter. Full request from the board of directors of Alfalfa requesting immediate return.
I feel like some of our Discord members are a little jealous that Marty gets so much attention.
So much airtime.
Hookem was here recently. Just like,
Incentivizing
you
the
guys
wrong
have said
behavior.
Marty more than anybody else in the history of the pod.
Oh my God, that's probably
he's
true.
a character.
He's a real
He's a character.
legend.
We like
Yeah.
characters.
Yes, we do.
We like all of you though. Character or
Thank you
not.
for reminding us, Steve.
Oh, Marty's in the chat.
Oh hell yeah!
He's in the
That's a
chat,
full
too. Oh.
comeback. That's a full comeback.
After all that, Marty says, "LOL." Thanks, Marty.
Yeah. Good sentiment there, Marty.
Man of many words.
This is going down a little too easy, by the way.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're gonna
this
be
is
really
smooth.
fun in like 30 to 40 minutes.
You're going to be really fun. I'll see you in the fun zone, sir.
I'm fun right now.
Are you?
Yeah.
Just born fun.
Yeah.
I can
Well,
see
Yeah. Middle name's fun.
Yeah, I could see that.
my middle name is not fun. Do you guys know my middle name?
I do. It's really.
Hold on. What do you like? I just
Hold
want to
on.
guess. I don't know.
It's like William or something.
Bartholomew.
No, nobody. Nobody can ever guess my middle name.
Deuteronomy?
It's never been guessed.
Stephen Deuteronomy Cesaro. I actually have plans to name my first son
I
Deuteronomy.
knew that was your plan.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
You've
you
known
talked
this
about
for
that.
like 10
You talked
years.
about that.
But Bartholomew,
Yeah, you look
Oh
like
my God.
you look like a kind of
like
like
a Bart.
dude, I know
Yeah,
it, but
Bart
I
the
know
third.
it. We've talked about this. It's not coming to me.
It starts with a D.
What?
Deuteronomy.
Yeah.
What is it?
I'm not telling you.
Okay, fuck you.
You'll never.
just
You'll never.
move-
Nobody
just
ever.
moves
Nobody
on.
ever guesses it. Nobody ever guesses it.
Time for
I'm
that.
not doing this.
Yeah.
Oh, is it really like?
David.
It's pedantic, isn't it?
No, I think it's the opposite. It's
very
like so
Is
blasé.
it just like blasé? Yeah.
It's like a normal name, but nobody ever guesses it.
Okay, so it is like a David.
Just plant that seed in your
All right.
in your mind there.
I'm just gonna yell
Um,
words with D throughout the podcast.
Yeah, if anybody has a guess in the chat,
Yeah.
like,
Let's
see
give it
who
to the
wins.
chat. Yeah.
Anyway,
Wait, make it a giveaway. give something to people if they get it.
I feel like somebody in the chat might know. Maybe they
Don't
did.
you owe people like mugs or
There's some
something?
good guesses going on. Dumper.
Ooh, did I just bring up the
Dumper.
oh,
Dwayne,
man.
Drake, Dingleberry. I don't like that
It's
one.
gonna get dark pretty
I don't
quick.
like that one. I'm gonna stop reading the chat now.
I don't like this game.
All right, what do you got for us to kick this off, Steve?
All right. So last week we were celebrating here
Mm-hmm.
with some champagne,
Yeah.
Yeah,
or-
that was fun.
sparkling French wine. I'm unclear on the region.
Oh yeah, it was particularly not champagne
Hmm.
because it was like from France.
Wasn't
but
it from
not
Rick Ross?
It was from Rick Ross.
Rick
yeah.
Ross doesn't even have real champagne. It's messed up.
So I thought we were gonna make it. Are we still gonna make it?
Yeah, I mean,
I expect big boom.
so we're yeah, we're here a week later.
I wanted 60K. I wanted all-time highs.
Patience,
Nah.
young grasshopper.
No.
Yeah, there's been a lot of euphoria and a lot of like panic already, and we are sitting here basically at the same price we were before we launched. Priced in, perhaps you might say. Yeah, it's been interesting. Like I feel like the sentiment is actually still kind of bad, oddly enough. But our boy Eric Balkunis, who's been our go-to ETF man is like really living his best life these days.
Yeah, this is his moment.
Like nobody's cared about
Oh,
his
it's
work.
totally Dominic.
Donatello.
It's Dominic.
Oh, Donatello would be sick. I wish it was Donatello.
It's Dominic.
Nobody in the chat has guessed it
I
yet.
told you it's Dominic. It is in the chat. Josh guessed it.
What did he guess?
Dominic
No,
for the seventh time. Yes,
no, it's
that's
not
what it
Dominic.
is.
Stop it.
Okay, we're going to Eric Balkunis' tweet here now.
So Eric Balkunis has a very rosy view on what happened with the ETFs recently. We did 10 billion in volume the first 3 days combined. People are really concerned about the inflows, but Eric has pointed out that volume is a big deal. Like, even if there's not a ton of money net flowing in, like the very fact that these things are getting a ton of trading means that they're sort of smash hit products. And if they're smash hit products, whether or not they have 100 billion of Bitcoin in them, tomorrow, things are looking good. So yeah, Eric said, let me put this into context, how insane 10 billion in volume is in the first 3 days. There were 500 ETFs launched in 2023. Today, they did a combined 450 million. The best one did 45 million. IBIT alone is seeing more activity than the entire 2023 freshman class. So pretty wild, and just like a volume standpoint. And
Is it a fair comparison?
what's unfair about it?
I don't know. I'm just wondering what you think.
Do you think Bitcoin should be, it's like so awesome that we should be holding it to an even
Super
higher
awesome.
standard than existing ETFs?
I think so.
A higher standard than all 500 ETFs combined from 2023?
It's interesting. It's a single individual asset that you can now purchase in the form of an ETF, which is quite different than what most people expect when they buy an ETF. But I'm not saying it's not
Gold?
that different.
GLD.
Yeah, I guess you can do that with gold. Yeah,
Yeah, any
It
commodity.
can be representative of any commodity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. Of course, it's not just the volumes we're concerned about. We're concerned about the flows. Eric has said the latest flow as of day 3, we got 782 million in net flows, which is great because we've been concerned that Grayscale was basically going to dump on the entire market. For those of you not following, Grayscale, I think, had like 30 billion or so in assets under management. And when they converted, the fear initially was that all of this money was just going to get the fuck out of Dodge, basically, and dump all over us. 30 billion is a lot of Bitcoin. But thus far, it seems like we've actually balanced that out quite nicely. And there is like actually net money coming through.
Yeah,
So-
we have net positive inflows, yeah?
yeah. And honestly, it doesn't seem like a ton of money has flowed out of Grayscale, which is great because if we just suddenly realized 30 billion of Bitcoin was going to be dumped on us, it'd be bad. to
So
use a
in
technical
your
term.
opinion, what would cause people to dump out of Grayscale, and what would incentivize them to stay in Grayscale, which is a higher fee product than the newly launched ETFs?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the average person in Grayscale is probably sitting on like a 200 or 300% gain, right?
So yeah, it's for
So
tax purposes.
What are
don't
you
wanna
going to do? You
yeah.
pay an extra 1.2% in annualized fees, or do you realize 20, 30% in taxes?
Right.
Just leave it.
People just leave it.
Yeah.
That was
Leave
part
it
of the
be.
it's part of the calculation by Grayscale. They didn't really drop their fee that much. I mean, they left it at
Knowing that people would be
150
trapped.
bips, I think.
150 bips when the market is like
There's
25
some trading at
bips.
0 currently.
Yeah, yeah, they're
for the
giving, like,
first 6
fee
months,
rebates.
teaser rates, and it looks like these things are going to end up around like 20 or 30.
Yeah.
which is insanely low. It's basically like not even profitable to run them that low. It's been quite remarkable to see that, because it just seems to me like it's this mega endorsement of like how bullish these institutions are on this asset class, that they're basically willing to just run this entire thing as like a loss leader just to get some AUM and get like a foothold in the space. You got Larry Fink just going on TV talking about how tokenizing assets just solves all the problems of the financial world, basically. And just be like, yeah, we should just tokenize everything. We'll get rid of all fraud. People are like, whoa.
What about the alternate take, which is coming from our boy Jamie Dimon?
Oh, this is good.
Oh, Jamie, Jamie
Okay.
said some fun stuff today.
Yeah, let's explain it, but then I have a question.
What's your question? Do you want to go
No,
Jamie
I can't
first?
go question before it's
Well, what do you say
fully
first?
surfaced.
Yeah, Jamie, I mean,
We're gonna
basically
pull up.
Jamie
Are we
being
gonna pull it
Jamie.
up?
I wish I could show the video, but we don't have audio yet. We're not quite
so
there.
You're gonna have to paraphrase what he said.
Yeah, Jamie was on CNBC, and he basically they were talking about the fixed supply of Bitcoin, and he's like basically like, well, gold's a fixed supply, and Satoshi might come back
Yeah.
any day and
Yeah,
just
I'm
print
only
more
saying
Bitcoin.
Satoshi.
He said Satoshi.
I'm only
literally
saying
said
Satoshi
Satoshi.
from now on.
Satoshi.
Uh-huh.
And then Jameson Lopp with the comeback tweet.
Oh, I'm gonna go to the tweet now.
How do you know it will stop at 21 million? He keeps asking year after year. Bro, it's 5 lines of code.
He said, I have not met a single individual who can answer this question for me.
Just him.
How many layers of security do you have? Anybody in the crypto sphere can answer this question for you.
He's just
It was-
trolling. He's
so,
trolling,
so,
right?
so this is my question.
Yeah.
Is he serious? Is he being earnest?
You have
with
to,
any
you
of it.
have to just think he's fucking with us.
You have to,
yeah,
right?
He's
I think he's being
The
serious.
I think he's being...
he was about to go
God,
on
I
camera.
don't
He's
know.
like, guys, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna say Satoshi.
No, I think you guys are missing the true thesis that he's coming with. Like he did say all these things that you mentioned. He literally said those things. But I think his thesis is, I don't give a shit. Stop asking me on CNBC. This is going to be the last time I talk about it. I don't care about this.
That he did say that.
Like, that's all he wants to say is like, cool.
So then everything
Anybody-
that comes after that is just going to be nonsense.
Yeah, he's like,
because he's over it.
He's telling you already, like, don't take my opinion as anything. I don't care. Like, I think.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
he's like coming from a legit.
So caring what his beliefs are, how he... Okay, I heard a sound.
I don't know what that was. Oh, sorry. That's
yeah.
probably one of my trading view alerts.
Oh.
Shit.
Sorry.
Okay.
I
We're
thought we got a
logged in.
donation.
Yeah.
I thought we got a donation. And
No.
Steven
Yeah, it
just-
might be.
No,
Steven-
Solana's just dumping.
I don't know if you guys
yeah.
heard that bell ring, but that
God
was
damn it.
That was Steven getting
Did
liquidated.
I? Oh,
So I
no.
think that you're...
Oh,
Hold
well.
on, Stephen, focus.
No.
I think
I'm
you're
focusing.
right that... given I have put 30 seconds of thought into this, mostly just reacting to the video.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you're right. I think like when a person who just doesn't give a shit anymore and has been asked that question so many times and has a clear like stance on it gets asked again, I think that's the kind of reaction you're going to get.
Yeah, he's just he's
I think people want to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's smart and that he does understand these things to the degree that he should. But I think he's basically telling us that he doesn't care.
he did say something kind of intriguing afterwards. He's like, well, we know that this particular coin does nothing other than just it exists.
Call it a pet rock.
He called it a pet rock. He's like, I like assets that yield something. And I was like, ooh, well, I know of a crypto coin that does that.
So on the other hand, you had Larry Fink being asked about like, what do you think about an Ethereum ETF? And he was like, yeah, I think that should happen and it should happen soon.
Yeah.
And
Sure enough, he filed for it.
yeah. and I think he was being asked like, will they all have an ETF at one point? And I think he said, I don't know about that, but He believes that this is just a step toward that tokenized future, right?
Yeah, and like I was describing on our last episode together, where I kind of like had a moment of emotion where this ETF passed, and I was predicting the future as well, where it's like this ETF, this Bitcoin ETF launch is the moment that cements the tokenized future. Like I thought this was the thing.
Yeah. So what happened?
So if you guys are wondering, there are already multiple Satoshi meme coins deployed.
Oh, God.
I found one on Solana that's already done 3.5 million of volume and is up 28,000% on the day.
Satoshi.
Satoshi. If you buy this, you will lose money. I don't know. Actually, maybe not.
No,
Maybe
who
not.
knows?
Who knows? Play the lotto. Have some fun.
Meme coins are an asset class, according to Steven.
Yeah,
They are.
That was the
They are.
most absurd episode ever.
Satoshi.
I bit my tongue many times in that episode.
Don't bite your tongue.
No, that was too much.
Jamie also said a interesting thing about Trump in this interview. He's kind of come around to him.
Yeah.
Did you catch that quote?
Yeah.
Said,
I did.
I don't like how Trump said things, but he wasn't wrong about those critical issues. That's why they're voting for him. People should be more respectful of our fellow citizens. I think this negative talk about MAGA will hurt Biden's campaign.
Well, I mean, being respectful about each other and citizens, I think
It's a hot take.
Trump could take a page
It's a
out of
hot
that book
take.
too. He could be a little more respectful. But Jamie Dimon was giving him credit for being right on NATO and other stuff, like which he was.
Right on a few things.
But like
Think.
being respectful to others,
Yeah.
not so much.
I think he's really talking about the blowback effect that the campaign will experience from targeting MAGA people. Like, it's a reality. Like, the more they do that, I think there's going to be like severe blowback, negative consequences. It does remind me of something. So, never been a Trump fan.
What?
Hold on. What? You're not surprised. But wait, really?
I'm being sarcastic.
Oh, okay. I was like, let me clear the air.
I thought
here.
that was legit.
But I'll never forget the first time that I saw him say something that made me look at him differently. It was years ago, but it was just a clip, and he says something along the lines of, being popular as a president is the easiest thing in the world. Everybody complicates it. They think it has to do with all of these different issues and how they stand on those issues and who they are and how charismatic they are. And he's like, that's nonsense. He's like, there's one thing that matters, is the economy. Making people rich is the most surefire way to be a popular president. And he just went on a rant about all that matters is that the stock market does well, that the economy does well, that inflation is controlled. And this was before all of our inflation woes.
And he's putting stimmy checks in the pockets of people.
Yeah, totally. But I think it was even before that, to be honest. But he did do that as a
Yeah.
way to kind of like make sure.
Right.
But his point was like, you make people feel rich and you're going to be a popular president. And that just showed me like, okay, interesting. Like now, like he talks so much about so much nonsense, but what really is his North Star? And that revealed at least one of his North Stars that he's
he gets
aiming
at like
toward.
the truth of things. He says the quiet part out loud a lot,
Yeah.
right? And like what he said there is one of the main reasons I remain like extraordinarily long and extraordinarily bullish, is because every politician right now realizes this. There's sort of two politicians right now. There's the classic politician that's like, I have to just spend a bunch of money so I can get reelected, because they're sort of not realizing any of the downside of doing the spending in the short term. Everything's like can kicking, right? And then there's a whole side of the country that's like, we have to make the economy really, really good so the orange guy doesn't win. And they're doing like both of those things. So I'm like looking at everything and I'm like, wow, no matter what happens for at least like the next 9 months, right? We're like in overdrive, I think, on the stimmy stuff.
Yeah.
I think the main reason, I mean, I don't want to say the main reason, but I think one of the reasons Powell pivoted like a couple months ago was because of this, right? Like Powell's sitting there, he's like, I don't want this fucking guy in again. He just told me to, like last time he was here, he told me to make rates zero and just yelled at me for like years. So even if he's not overtly like manipulating, like he can look at the data and be like, seems fine.
So hold on, because at that same Davos conference where they interviewed Jamie Dimon, they interviewed a lot of people. But I think one of the guys they interviewed was Rubenstein, who runs Carlyle Group.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was him who said this. I watched all of them, but like I think it was him. And he said Powell is gonna be reluctant to cut rates prior to the election because he doesn't want to exhibit favoritism to one party or the other.
That's why he did it early.
So he did it early
Yeah.
because he doesn't want to show that he's like supportive of the Democratic Party.
Yeah, and he has good cover because he has cover with like the real rates thing. Like because inflation has been tanking so hard, right? Like real rates are actually quite high. So if he wants to keep real rates at like these kind of meaningful levels, he can actually drop that kind of Fed funds rate, and it's totally in line, and everything looks kosher. It doesn't look like he's doing anything nefarious, and maybe he's not, but like the incentives are obviously nudging him that way. And I think like there's one entire party that basically is like, this guy is Hitler. Anything is justified to not have him in office. In fact, it's our duty to do anything, right? And everybody knows the number one thing you cannot do to win a re-election campaign is have the economy be in a recession. I don't think anybody has ever won a re-election bid with like a recession economy. I think it's like never happened. So I think that's like goal number one. But that's just the short term, right? This fits in with this like longer term narrative of just money printing everywhere. Everywhere you see it, it's just like the cat's kind of out of the bag. You can't feel it in the air. Like everybody sort of realized it. I think there's a reason why everybody's just going balls long and taking out debt. Like because taking out debt is actually a logical thing to do. If you were to know that the world was going to kind of go into this like money printing phase and you could get like this sort of fixed low rate debt in preparation for that world, you're actually doing yourself a favor by doing that, because you can kind of purchase these assets that will get inflated down the road, and you're just trying to like get on your little lifeboat and float away out of everybody ahead of everybody. So yeah, it's going to be wild. And
It's wild.
And if Trump wins, he's not going to be like a austerity guy.
No,
you
fuck
know?
no.
He's
Fuck
like
no.
he's not even like a Republican. He's just like loves printing money.
Yeah.
Loves it.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. All
So-
roads lead to Bitcoin up.
Yeah.
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 And all assets, basically.
yeah. That's my generalized take on the ETF. I don't know how you guys feel right now, but like I am so fucking bullish right now. Like, and the fact that people are sort of panicking a little bit that like we ticked off 49 and sold off to 42. It just doesn't matter. Like even if it goes to 35, it just doesn't fucking matter. It's going to go to 100. It's going to go to 200. It's probably going to go to 500. Like we might be in a situation where like sovereign wealth funds are buying the damn thing pretty soon. There's going to be like an Ethereum ETF, and everybody's going to start speculating on, okay, what's the next altcoin ETF? What's the next altcoin ETF? It's like,
It goes to infinity. It's like
hurts my brain.
These like Bitcoiners are right. It just goes to infinity. Like I think
maybe a top signal. I don't know.
it goes to infinity. like
Snap it
in
as top signal.
like in fiat currency denomination. Like I think it does.
Well, this is something we've been talking about on the podcast for years. So no changes in this sort of high level thesis about what's happening in the world
Right.
and what you can do to.
I guess I'm just like I'm not so concerned about Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin goes much higher, but I think everything goes higher.
It's the thing that leads everything.
Real estate
you know?
goes higher, stonks go higher, everything goes.
Yeah, for sure. But Bitcoin is the gateway drug to crypto, right? So getting that into the sort of institutions, getting everybody involved in it. You buy a little Bitcoin, then you buy some Ether, then you buy some Solana, and the next thing you know, you're gambling on dogs with hats and all sorts of crazy crazy stuff.
Didn't Franklin Templeton just come out with like a?
Yeah, I saw that. Franklin Templeton. Was that like a Solana tweet?
I thought they were tweeting on Whiff. They were like dogs with hat.
Were they?
I think so. Like I didn't
Stop it.
They were like they did like our digital asset group is doing our Twitter takeover, and they're like for an hour, and I didn't go through it, but I swear they were talking about dogs with hat.
Dude, like, does it not seem to you like base reality just keeps getting more and more and more warped? But we're almost getting numb to it because we're in it. But like, if I took you in a time machine, even like 8 years ago, and dropped you off in today, and just told you all the stuff that was happening in the world, like
I know they put laser eyes on Ben Franklin.
They did. I
Ben
saw
Franklin
that.
is their like logo, and they put laser eyes on him. So
You're assuming we're still in base reality, Steven. Hey, so you're pumping Trump NFTs?
yeah. So Trump NFTs, by the way,
I saw your tweet.
pumping.
Oh, where'd they go to? What's the floor at these days?
They're at 0.27 last I checked.
Okay, that's a nice double up from when you bought them.
I tweeted about them a month ago. I bought a bunch at like 0.12, 0.13. I was just like, this is the most obvious freaking trade I've ever seen. Like, we're gonna have a president who literally has his own NFT collection.
How many are there?
Like 40,000 of them, 48,000 or something like that.
Well, are you sure that he's going to be the president? How do you do at Iowa?
But it doesn't matter. Just the fact that he's going to be,
51%.
he crushed in Iowa.
He crushed in Iowa.
51%. The next best was Ron DeSantis at 21%.
Yeah, like it's over. It's been over. I've been tweeting
what
that
we
it's
always
over
said.
forever. I also tweeted a while ago that like
tweeted in
Trump
my
at
head that it's
30% to win the Republican nomination was like the freest money of all time.
Yeah.
Which free. Stamp it.
Yeah.
Free money. Absolutely free. And I said that once they published the mugshot photo.
Well, let me
I was
ask you
like,
guys
it's
a
over.
question.
He's
It came up
president.
in the community. There was a comment by Hookham, who's basically like, I think it's going to be everyone that voted for Trump votes for Trump. Everybody that voted for Biden votes for Biden. No change. So I actually think there will be a change.
Wait, who said that?
Hookham.
Oh, no.
Could be mistaken, but my
Hookham.
belief is that
Hookham's wrong.
I also okay. So I believe that there's a new sort of within this Venn diagram. There are people that voted for Trump that will vote for Biden this time for sure, a percentage. And within this percentage, more of those people that switch sides are people that voted for Biden that will vote for Trump. Hence, Trump becomes president. And I believe that's going to be more surprising than people realize, is the number of people that voted for Biden that will vote for Trump this time.
I think the obvious thing is that people are so demotivated about Biden that there's going to be a lot of people who voted for Biden that are just like, I hate everybody so much.
Which
I don't
also
even care
ties
anymore.
into like a slightly parallel, relevant idea that like, will people show up? And like,
I mean,
will
Trump
there be turnout?
supporters will show up.
Yeah. Will there be? But what about these Biden sort of like, I can't vote
it's
for
like
this
how-
guy again.
it's like, how
That's
can you
not a
get excited?
passionate vote for Trump. So the question then becomes, to counter my hypothesis, well, will those people actually vote at all?
The Biden people?
Those Biden people that can't vote for Biden again, that are forced to vote for Trump, will they be a passionate vote for Trump? No. Like,
It
no.
depends on the weather.
So I'll
too,
describe
right?
myself. Like, I'm open to talking about like I'm in that camp. Like, what do I do? It's like I've got two ex-girlfriends. Both were toxic relationships. I never want to talk to either one again, and they're both back, and I have to pick one to be with for 4 years. Are you kidding me? That's what we're left with?
Well, Bilo would argue that the vote should go to a independent third party to like bump those numbers up for a better long-term vision of not just like a two-party system. He was talking about that in the politics channel.
Does that actually begin to just understand, like in order to promote the possibility of something beyond a two-party system?
That's the idea, yeah.
I think that's been the idea forever. You know,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think we all want that. We all want something more than the two-party system.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, we live in San Diego, California, and our vote doesn't matter because our state is bluest of the blue. So, like,
Facts.
so you can kind of like do a vote for an ideology if you want to.
Must be interesting being in those swing states, though. Like the pressure, like your vote really does count. It's going to count a lot.
Yeah.
And not to create like a whole deep dive into politics. I know we want to get to the CES stuff, but like just general, I'm curious your predictions about like, will it be you believe, Stephen, that like Trump will be president? Do you think it will go without major, issues? Like, will this just literally be like he's stamped, done? He has,
Oh, I think they're going to try to scam him for sure.
I mean,
I
they
think
already
it's
are.
very obvious that every single existing institution in the world hates him and is doing anything possible to like. For all we know, the intelligence agencies don't like him. Who knows what they can do? Like, there's very little chance this goes off without a hitch. I think if there was no
Very little.
scammery going on, like he's like 85%, But there's going to be some like this happens every election. It's not necessarily that there's like outright fraud, but like people put their thumb on the scale. Like when they banned like the Hunter Biden story from Twitter, that wasn't fraud, but it was definitely putting a thumb on the scale. And like we'd had you could vote with mail-in ballot like 3 months in advance, all this stuff. Like
Yeah,
it's not fraud,
that
but
was
it's
last
people
time.
putting their and that stuff won't
It's gonna be
be
worse
there
this
this
time.
time.
I think it's going to be rocky as hell.
It's gonna be bad. Yeah, I'm not really looking
I
forward.
think it's
to
going to
it,
be really bad. And then
to
you
be
talk
honest.
about AI. You talk about like what's possible with video right now.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be some
What
wild.
what it, I mean, 10 months in AI time is,
Fucking lifetime.
yeah. And so like right now you can basically, generate a video of Trump saying something that you could barely tell. If you look at the lips
Trump
closely,
wins in this
you can
world
tell.
because everybody is so inoculated to him at this point. There is nothing you could put him saying on video that would change anybody's opinion anymore. Like
Right.
everybody is just like
Yeah.
priced in. Whereas like Biden, like you could do stuff where people are like, oh my god. But like there's nothing Trump could. I feel like he's the most like cemented.
He's bulletproof in that way. Like he's been so heinous
Well,
that
it's
like
one of
nothing
the-
you say can like
Everybody's
ever
just
stick
dug
to
That's
him.
the
in.
benefit.
Everybody's just
of
dug in.
like
Yeah.
his brand. And like when you come out the gates saying I snatch women by the like, that's you got to grab them by the So when you say that in your campaign like talk like it's going to be fine.
That was locker room talk.
Locker room talk.
Locker room
And people went, you know what? He's right.
Yeah.
I have heard that in the locker room.
Well, locker room talk does
and,
get pretty.
and you know what? He is right.
Yeah, I mean, locker room talk does get worse than that.
Oh,
so.
way worse than that. So like,
Oh, I would bet a lot of money that if I could be a fly on the wall and just bug like if I could just download Armand's entire locker room talk history and publish it to the world, like he'd be walking.
You're never gonna get this.
He'd shave the beard.
No way.
There'd be no more beard. He'd be wearing like a fez all the time. And just, he'd be gone.
Yeah, I wouldn't leave my house.
Wouldn't look good. Well, before we pivot away from that, I wanted to take your temperature real quick on just one other element of the caucus and everything. Well, Vivek dropped out today.
Sorry.
What was that?
There's
Tom
the
Nom says I
pronunciation.
do love a locker room.
He does.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Oh, by the way, before Vivek, I saw Hookham in the chat wanted to clarify his position.
Defending himself.
I'm being misquoted. Yeah, we figured you were. He said it's about how many people stay home, which I agree with.
I said that.
Yeah.
I said that in my follow-up, Hookham.
So you agree with Hookham? We all agree with Hookham. And-
Yeah.
All right, cool.
In that sense.
End of story.
Yeah.
Vivek, he's gone.
Okay.
He was kind of an interesting side character.
Didn't have that winner energy for me.
It's like interesting because everybody
Not a winner.
I know was at least like intrigued by him, like in my world, but
was
like
super
outside of
intriguing.
my world, he mattered like not at all.
Yeah, he was super intriguing.
Came in at like 5%.
I've listened to him for like very little, but the brief amount of time, he's smart Trump, and and it works, but it doesn't work as well as dumb Trump or AKA just Trump. It just doesn't work as well. It doesn't create as much popularity and populism in general. But I think he's got something interesting. I just find him to be a complete fugazi, like all of them. He's a complete fugazi. He's just like a symptom of his
could
times.
you define Fugazi?
Nah,
All right.
you got to watch.
You just got to feel it.
You got to
dude.
watch Bronx Tale for that one. But like, it's just that's what they all are. But especially the populace.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see what he decides to be in 4 years. What agenda he jumps on. But like in general, for me, smart guy trying to jump on trends, say the things that need to be said for the times that we're currently living in. That was my read on him.
I feel like I was guilty of sort of being swept up by his shtick, which is like the same thing that MAGA folks are with Trump's, which is like this guy says a lot of the things that I've been thinking for a long time but haven't been said. And I'm like, oh man, this guy,
It's just
he
a better character.
he just says it. And he's like, he wasn't as heinous as Trump on the
you're like,
downside.
I might have hung out
He
with
was
that
like
guy.
pretty
in San
smart
Francisco.
on the upside. And like, you're right. He was like kind of like a smart Trump. I felt like he didn't have that, in a weird way, this like likability factor that I think Trump actually has. Like,
Right.
like many people actually fucking hate him, but there's something kind of endearing about his shtick a little bit. Like,
Oh, totally.
but like a lot of people wouldn't want to admit that. But
Totally.
Yeah, he made a lot of very good points, I thought. He also felt like very phony to me.
Yeah.
Like he's very skilled salesman obviously. But it all just felt like extremely calculated.
He was very good at making it feel not phony. It was close, but the read is obvious that
It's
it's a fugazi.
It's very interesting how in like our world, like when we log on Twitter, like we see Vivek all the time. Everybody's talking about Vivek. He dominates that world, and then you go into the real world, and he's a footnote. He's like completely irrelevant.
15% or
Just goes to show you like the bubble.
What do you
there.
get?
Well, where
11%?
did he get to? Because when he dropped out,
I
I
think he
saw
got to 5% in the caucus, 5 or 6%.
that's so low.
In
That's
Iowa?
so low.
Maybe it was 7. I think it was
5% in Iowa. That's like nothing.
Yeah,
I thought he was making
Nothing
better
better.
inroads than that. Literally,
no more
it's
than
like,
8.
No, we need
no
a-
more
we
than
need
8.
like
the
a
right
waste of
Fact
fucking
check me,
time,
Jamie.
dude.
Fact check me.
Oh man, yeah,
Um,
7.7.
Adam's asking,
Dude.
is Vivek the VP pick?
No,
No.
I mean he won't be. I don't think he should. I'm not saying he shouldn't be. I just don't think he will be.
Okay. I think he is the VP pick, and here's why.
You think so?
Yeah. So when you look at the polling data from the caucus, like you see something very, very interesting. Like amongst the youngest group of voters, Vivek won.
Wait, hold on. Say
He
that
was
again.
number
like,
one.
Like he was actually first
He was
place.
First place in the youngest group of voters in the polling. I think Trump came in 4th.
Shut up. In amongst what do you like delineate this age?
It was like 18 to 28, I want to say, something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty young.
I think look it up. I don't have.
Yeah.
This isn't a well-researched show, okay? But yeah, Vivek
Well-researched.
won amongst young people. So I think that Trump dominates amongst the olds. It's very, very fascinating, like how much old people just love Trump.
Yeah.
You love him.
I don't
My
think-
grandpa loves him.
I don't think they can team up together.
Why? He shores up the
Way
one
too
vote that
similar.
Trump struggles the most with.
Way too similar and way too desirous of the exact same outcome.
Do you think that Vivek wants the limelight a little too much for
100%.
Trump's liking?
Yes, 100%.
Maybe I could see that.
Yeah.
That would be something
He'd
that
have to
Trump
really
would do.
check him and put him in his little drawer to like be able to work with him, because Trump will not stand for like big personality in
Right.
the VP position.
Vivek's smart though. Like he wouldn't take the limelight. He'd just be like, "This is my ticket to
To a future.
be president."
Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
just
maybe,
Not screwed up, I think.
maybe.
But yeah, I think he.
All right, enough of
I think he
politics.
actually fix him.
I'm over it.
I do. He's
What's
over
next?
it. He's over it. Let's move on.
So CES just happened.
Let's move on. CES.
That's a hell of an event.
Does that stand for the Consumer
Consumer
Electronics
Show?
Summit?
Summit? Damn it.
No,
Show,
I don't
dude.
know. I'm guessing.
It's a show.
It's a show.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a show.
I went there a couple years ago.
Okay, tell us about
I
it.
went there on a free ticket.
You went?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
What was it like?
I went with a friend.
Isn't
who-
it huge?
It's fucking huge.
It's huge, right?
It's huge. And like
Which casino was it in?
it was like in many different conference centers.
really?
It was like all over the place.
I got pitched on it, and I'm so sold. I just basically heard this pitch of like, you just walk around and going, oh my god, ooh, that's cool, and you're just like,
It's just that. It's just
You're just
cool
having a
shit.
good time.
It's cool shit everywhere, and everywhere is meant to like draw your attention and wow you. But there's nothing that you
dope.
can't buy anything really. You
you
can't
walk
like.
around with a 40.
I wasn't drinking at the time. I didn't remember seeing
I also-
anyone drinking.
Don't drink 40s for the record, but I just
Yeah.
wondering if I can.
I remember when you did though.
Yeah,
So what happened this year at the CES?
a lot. Let's switch to the screen.
Yeah,
there.
what do we got? What do we got primed
It's
up?
got
Good, Angry Tom tweets.
gonna-
He's got a good thread on CES here.
yeah.
Okay, what's the first thing?
This is Arovia? Never even heard of this company. Splay. It's a mix of a projector and a foldable screen.
Bye.
I don't.
So what? You just
I don't-
unfold this thing.
I shouldn't go to this event because the number one thing I spend money on is tech.
Oh, you're always an early adopter
I
gadget
am-
guy,
And I've never been to
This
this.
is
And-
basically just like a foldable portable TV.
but you would just be
I would
you
buy.
would be just like
I
lost.
hit the buy button everywhere.
Yeah, you would. We need to hide your.
I would be.
Hide your
yeah,
When
wallet.
you
I'd be
went, did they
bankrupt.
have like buy it now QR code?
I don't remember
kind of
seeing a lot of people
situation?
buying stuff,
Or is
just
it
like
more just show and tell?
showcasing.
See, I need to buy.
Yeah. Okay. So let's
Yeah.
see what else is on this list. This is like a foldable TV kind of.
Basically, a foldable TV. It's a
Okay.
it's a screen with a projector, kind of.
Well, foldable was a
All in
big like kind of a theme this
a
year.
theme.
Yeah. So this is like kind of cool, but you know.
All right, what else-
Not,
what else?
Whatever.
Yeah,
whatever. I can live
whatever.
without this. This one's controversial.
Oh my God. I love the physical BlackBerry keyboard.
Okay, good, because I think this is the
Crackberry
dumbest
over
shit
here.
I've ever
So
seen.
they put.
This is great.
So they
I'm
reattach.
so in.
They
for
reattach a
those
keyboard.
Of you, for
Oh
those
my
of you not
God.
listening, this is a
I am so
iPhone
excited.
case that just puts a BlackBerry keyboard
Oh
on
my
the
God.
iPhone.
You send me the link to this.
Armand, you can't
This
go
is
to this
great.
show. You're
Dude.
literally gonna go broke.
Chad, do
this
you,
is
Chad, do you
genuine.
like this thing?
Dude.
Do you agree with Armand that this is cool,
Oh
or do you think
my
it's the
God.
dumbest
Like,
thing
you
you've
actually
ever
want
seen?
the keyboard back.
I want the keyboard
Oh
so
my
bad.
God, you are. So,
First of all, I hate the phone in general. I hate having a phone.
look how long it is.
Well, we'll get to maybe a replacement for
She
that.
said.
Okay.
What happened?
vibes, facepalm, no.
Yeah, I would not be in on
I wanted
this.
so bad. What a conversation starter.
It is a conversation
yeah.
starter. Conversations like
Looks
what
like
the
it's
fuck
built
is
for
wrong with you?
lightning, though. They're a little behind the times. Got to switch to that USB-C, bud. Come on.
Oh my God.
Come on.
All right, this is a hard pass for me.
Okay.
Okay, what else we? Oh, this is fucking cool.
This thing is cool. Samsung introduces the world's first transparent micro LED screen.
See, stuff like this I don't get. Why do I need that?
Well, this is. I feel like this kind of thing changes the world as we know it. Like this will be on the outside of building, like kind of how the sphere
Okay.
is and shit. Like this just like can be a presentation around all of our lives.
This
Like,
is
Got it.
basically like if
I'm
you
just
want to
looking for
have a
things to
fire
buy
pit,
here.
but you don't want fire.
yeah, maybe you can have fire kind of
maybe.
around it, just playing cooler
Trying to think
shit.
of other applications for it.
Just so many. I think like
When you want to watch a movie and look directly at somebody through the movie.
That's a pretty incredible technology.
I mean, this thing looks cool.
Transparent LED. Wow.
All right.
I mean,
So
you're
pretty
not
cool.
watching TV on that, but
Pretty cool.
yeah,
Pretty cool.
okay.
Next one, pretty nutty.
So this is the
Xpeng
Chinese Cybertruck.
flying car. We got a flying car, boys.
Why does it look like a Cybertruck?
Because
Well-
Cybertrucks look awesome, and the
Yeah.
Chinese
Yeah.
Chinese like to borrow from us.
Yeah, Elon wins again.
Is that a flying car, or is that just a helicopter inside the car?
It's a helicopter. Good job, Xpeng. You created a helicopter.
Wait, it's a helicopter that comes out of a car?
So yeah, it doesn't look like a flying car. It's just
It's a car that has a
correct me
helicopter
if I'm wrong.
inside
It's
of
a
it.
car that has a, which is cool, by the way.
That is pretty cool. In terms of like a car that doesn't have a helicopter, I'd prefer the one that does have one.
I'm not sure why you need to drive somewhere.
Just
and then get into your
just have a
helicopter and fly?
Have a helicopter separate.
Yeah, like I want to fly from my house.
I'm
to
mostly just
somewhere.
upset about the air quotes flying car.
Yeah, no, it is in quotes.
It's kind of
False
a
advertising.
rug
Air
pull.
quotes. A flying
Total-
car.
I got so excited.
Okay, what else we got?
Wait, I have more questions on the flying car.
Okay, let's go back.
Okay.
Do you think this is ever a thing? Like, can you imagine a world where you just look outside and people are zooming around in like little flying cars?
It's probably ridiculous
Sounds
to
like chaos.
presume that doesn't happen.
It feels like it has to, but like, how does that happen? Because if you just did that tomorrow, if you just gave everybody a flying car,
Fifth Element, dude.
everything is on fire.
Fifth Element.
Fifth Element. Maglev.
It's gotta be all autopilot, right?
No,
You can
highways.
only do this
highways
just
and
completely
autopilot. Yeah, it's already
autopilot.
laid out in perfect detail in the Fifth Element.
All right, I look forward.
It's already
to,
solved.
I
Okay,
look forward to the.
We're gonna
bootleg
go through them and
Cybertruck.
we're gonna vote on what is the best product at the show. By the way.
All right, cool. The Rabbit R1. This is the AI-powered companion device.
Okay,
It's like a. So my understanding of this is it's basically like a physical device, like a standalone physical device that sits in your pocket, but basically like does tasks on apps for you.
To give it a little more context, I think this was the most talked about product at CES. So
Interesting.
this little thing that you're describing, which is like a device you put in your pocket, was the talk of the town.
Well, I liked that they actually sold their product.
They sold out.
You know,
They
yeah.
sold out immediately.
10,000
Really?
units.
Yeah.
Which is not a ton, but at least you could like go and view it and be like, I want that.
Okay,
But-
so what does it do, guys? Like, what does this thing do?
Well, we only looked at it for.
Well,
you know.
okay, well, I looked at it before too.
Okay, you tell us then.
Well, I was just trying to
thing
pass the
looks
ball
so-
off.
No.
Strange.
Hold the ball, buddy. Hold
Okay,
the ball.
so what it does is that it's like this integration piece of hardware that allows you, using natural language, to access all of your applications that you would use on your phone with a touch screen, but this allows you to do it with your voice.
Okay. So
That's pretty cool.
Why standalone device is my first question.
well, because you would need one at this point.
Yeah.
But you know what I said offline was like, Siri solves that, or will. Not today, not present day. Please make sure you understand. I don't mean Siri's awful and has terrible branding.
You just
today.
activated my Siri on my phone, by the way.
Oh, see, first of all, that's your first mistake. You actually have that on.
I didn't even know that I did. Like I've never
dude,
used
that's
Siri.
terrifying.
I've never used Siri in my life.
First thing I've turned off on my phone when I first got it was the Hey Siri should not be listening.
Yeah, the thing is
Yeah,
worthless.
The good thing about the Hey Siri is you can find your phone for you.
I'd rather
I use
rely
Hey
on
Siri,
other ways.
where are you, all the time.
Cannot
I've never lost my phone.
yeah. So
Steven loses it every day.
Apple is going to either introduce its own. Apple is going to integrate their own LLM into an on-device situation with the iPhone. I don't know whether they'll maintain the Siri branding or create a new brand for this. If it was me, I would keep the Siri branding because it's just, while it's tarnished, it's never too late to sort of,
we already know what it is, sort of.
And it has a good name,
Yeah.
and you know what it is. You know it's meant to be an AI. It's just a bad one. So if suddenly it showed up and it was a very good AI, that'd be phenomenal.
It'd be phenomenal.
So yeah, I think you can handle this. And by the way, I think Apple is a sleeper pick for the year
in the
when it comes
AI
to
world.
AI. Yeah.
Totally agree.
I mean, Apple stock right now is basically priced like they're not going to do AI, right? Like it's like the market is sort of punted on them in a way. It's probably like pessimistic about the Vision Pro 2. I don't know, which is another thing.
Well, the Vision Pro 2, I mean that you're introducing something brand new. Well, not from outside of CES, I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I want to touch on that. Maybe now. I don't know. We could maybe
can.
slight detour.
Yeah, we can.
Let's get through the list and come to. Okay, just hit it then. Fine.
Like, do you own Apple? Do you guys own Apple stock?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't own any. Like, I'm wondering if I should just mash the
It's
button
just
on calls
old.
right now.
I think I'm underweight relative to like the S&P 500, to be honest. Like I own some, but it's not like 4% of my portfolio.
Like Apple's going to do AI, right? They're not just going to not do it.
I think it's a high likelihood.
And
Yeah,
they'll
and they're-
probably be good at it.
And there are
right?
hints in the rumor mill that they've been working on it, and
in a way that's like way more user friendly or intuitive or something. So we have this kind of like white swan, maybe that could happen.
And like even outside of AI, like back to your point on Vision Pro, I have no idea how this thing is getting feedback right now, but every product they launch seems to just be a fucking hit. To the point where I remember like now Apple stock is like trillions of dollars, right? So like a $50 billion business doesn't actually matter that much to them. But like I remember when they launched their fucking AirPods, like those were so in demand that the AirPod business alone would be worth $50 billion
I think that's their best
as a
product
standalone
they've
business.
ever had, though.
Yeah.
But that's like wild to me to think that would be worth more than fucking Coinbase just because they're so good at launching products.
I think the AirPods sold like 50 to 100 times like the number of units that like analysts were pricing.
Yeah.
It was like insane. And it's weird too. They launch these things that are super successful and like they come out and all the reviewers hate them.
Well, so yeah, if you remember when the AirPods first came out, there
People
was bad
shat on
reviews,
them.
ugly, weird looking.
Same thing with the
All
iPad.
kinds
Like,
of- yeah.
why do we need this? This is just a
Yeah.
giant iPhone.
So the first reviews, if we're talking about the Vision Pro, everyone's talking about how heavy it is. It's just
Yes.
heavy. You can't wear it for
yes,
very long.
Marquez
That's
Brownlee
V1 though.
tweeted about it.
A lot of
right?
people did.
And
A
just
lot.
basically like, it's heavy. It's heavy.
Yeah,
It's heavy.
but he wasn't the only one, and that's not going to work.
Some good memes though. There's all these memes of like
The neck,
yeah,
Yeah.
prepping for the Vision.
the weights with their
Weights on
necks,
the
and yeah. What's that thing Rogan always talks about? The neck thing that I get hit with the ads for.
Dude, I used to get Instagram ads for
Iron neck.
Iron neck.
Yeah. I just made that up. Is that what it's called?
I think it's
Is that
called
really
No,
Iron
neck?
it's something like that.
Wait,
It's-
hold on. Iron
But it's like, dude, he's
I
like,
feel like it's called Iron neck.
Wait.
start using this and all your neck pain goes away, man.
Dude,
And,
I was watching a video of Max
Iron
Verstappen,
neck.
Max Verstappen training for Formula One races, and he was doing like these gnarly neck exercises.
oh my God, show that picture of
Yeah,
Okay,
Rogan.
hold on. This-
Show the picture of Rogan, though.
Wait, that didn't work.
When he's making that face. It's
Wait,
ridiculous.
I have to go back to
What
the.
did you click on?
Show the
Oh,
one
there's
right there.
Rogan.
Yeah, that face. he
That's the
made.
Iron neck.
Iron neck,
Yeah.
baby. Love it.
Yeah, Rogan has no more neck, so he's probably been doing a lot of that.
Yeah. But what were you saying?
This thing looks so
No, I don't know. Like,
That Max did what?
just did like these F1 drivers do like crazy neck exercises.
Yeah, they
So
do.
They're like
Yeah.
literally doing like a neck. He's like a frail figure,
For
but
sure.
just like with a badass neck.
For sure. But anyway, it's really heavy, and
I need to
we'll
do some
see.
neck exercises.
Maybe the V1 doesn't do well. I don't know. I think there's enough hardcore Apple lovers and evangelists out there that, first of all, they priced it so it didn't need to sell that many units.
Right.
You know,
3,500,
yeah,
right?
something ridiculous.
Are you guys gonna buy it?
I don't know, when is it even out?
Like very soon, I think.
Really?
Like very soon.
I
And isn't
don't know.
there's like a whole process you have to go through?
If-
Don't you have
if
to go to
I-
the store and they fit it for you and do some
Oh
crazy
yeah,
stuff?
I don't know.
I'm not their target audience. I'm
My
like a late adopter.
use case for it is not fun. It's work. If I could feel
Oh, no,
like
absolutely.
I'm sharing
Like,
an environment,
if I can lie in bed like this and just
blink and trade.
yeah, yeah.
if I
Dude,
could
I'm gonna be
connect,
at the dog park, walking, like just throwing the ball to Ziggy, and I'm gonna be like,
I will spend any amount of money on technology if it created the feeling of, or rather, it created the anti-feeling of Zoom. So, like for me, my life is Zoom meetings and email, right? So to be able to have a Zoom meeting and make it feel like I'm having coffee with somebody, I'd pay enormous amounts of money for, because I prefer the in-person experience when I meet with people.
Yeah, I agree.
And I anything that can improve that experience, for me. Actually, there's a Techstars portfolio company that was in our cohort that's working on that too. So shout out to Remix.
I mean, we're for sure gonna be able to just do this pod like with headsets. It's gonna look exactly. At what point will it be so realistic that Eric is actually okay doing the pod virtual? Is the
I'm glad
question.
you called me out.
We're in the same boat
because
though.
I hate.
hate it.
I hate the. What do you?
I
call
don't like
that?
it too,
Remote.
right? But like, there is a point where it becomes so
I haven't thought about that.
lifelike, right?
Because I kind of want to live in like Jackson Hole part of the year or something like that. So that could help out, you know. Mike, do I
you
have
don't even
to
have
be
to live
here
in
for
Jackson Hole
episode?
now. You could just
Well,
lie in
that's
bed and
the
pop-
other way around, huh?
But there's so many.
on your thing.
There's so many sensations outside of just your sight that like make reality, at least our version of reality, feel real.
Yeah. Like I'm a big fan of your fragrance.
Thanks, man.
We could get that
That's
in
a
like
throwback
V2.
for like 3% of the
V2,
audience.
V3. What if that's just in your Zoom settings? Like you have like there's just like a desired fragrance.
Yeah.
That like people always smell you in the meeting.
Armani.
Yeah.
Just hit the Armani button.
We're not going to be satisfied just with ultra realistic
Eric's like,
visuals. Like, there's going to be smell.
There he is.
Yeah. Okay. Armand has entered the chat.
This is special fragrance from Paris, bro.
Yeah. I'm thinking about getting it actually.
All right.
I'm gonna see what it's like. Like if it has trading view, like I'll
Jesus. That'd be fun.
I mean,
consider it.
Oh. Show the HP laptop.
Okay.
I saw
Yeah, let's do that.
one of our Techstars cohort friends, founders brought this in the last week.
Foldable
It must be
laptop,
this one
baby.
because it was the same exact thing. I saw this in person and I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is insane. It's actually
It's pretty cool.
a hell of a device.
yeah. So
And the way he had it was it had an attachment for your keyboard as well. And it like
this
popped
guy.
up into a full workstation.
Well, this guy has it so that the touchscreen, the bottom half of the
Right.
touchscreen becomes the keyboard.
Right. And my friend had it where he used the entire thing as a monitor and then it had an attachment to prop it up high and then you had the keyboard
use, like, a
below.
Bluetooth
It was
keyboard on it?
incredible. It was like, what? He was like walking around with a, 23-inch monitor. It was insane.
So I've seen that Samsung came out with like a foldable phone that's just like this, probably using the same tech.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can see this becoming.
I mean,
a thing.
Windows and Android people crush it when it comes to the tech, but I mean, I could never.
This
could
isn't
never.
like a 0 to 1 thing for me.
Apple
though, you
has
know?
me
It's
by
just like,
the-
ooh, that's a really cool feature.
Yeah, but the minute Apple comes out with their version of this, you're like, oh,
It'll
yeah.
take 10 years.
Oh yeah, right.
Are you kidding me? We
Right.
pay triple and we wait 5 years for everything else.
But then
you
when
know
it
the
comes
deal.
out, you're like, oh my god, it's
You
so
know the
good.
deal.
Yeah, and you brag to all the Android people about it, and they're like, "Are you serious? Like,
Come on.
they're like so mad at you too. They're like, "Look at my AirPods." You're like, "What? That has like 6 hours of battery life. Mine have 60." And you're like, "Yeah, but 6 is pretty good, bro. I've been waiting years for this."
Yeah, but the UX, dude.
Yeah.
Do you think our what percentage of our Discord do you think is like Android versus?
Oh, I bet we're heavy Android.
Like
Really?
above the normal
average.
population.
Above the average.
interesting.
Yeah. I bet.
Because you know,
It's a technical
Apple is for like the plebs, kind of. It's like the normies. The normies.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it?
normies. It's normies.
I mean, we have like IT type folks in here that are like,
technical,
Yeah.
smart people. Yeah, yeah. I'd put it above the average for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Would have thought the opposite. Kohler, $8,500 smart toilet.
oh, here it is. This
Probably has a really awesome bidet.
this is the thing that caught my
Apparently,
eye.
it doesn't.
It doesn't?
Eric says all it does is it lifts up the seat with your foot.
It's
Okay.
got to do more. Dude, Toto does that.
Yeah,
This is
that's what I
so
thought.
okay. So when I saw this thing, $8,500
Pretty
toilet,
sexy looking toilet.
I was like, okay, this is where the game changes, because I thought that a smart toilet would analyze your fecal matter and tell you exactly what you're lacking in your diet or what you've been doing too
Do
much.
we not
of.
have that yet? Is that not a thing?
Eric, there's no way this isn't a bidet for $8,500. Maybe the video just doesn't show it.
So this is the only
This has to also.
this is the only video that I've seen of it, but it didn't show any features outside of the lid closing and opening automatically. And having ambient lighting on the side.
Is this on your exit list?
What does that mean? Oh, like when I
Yeah, you hit your number. You're
Post
like,
economics?
Yeah, post economics.
no, I want fecal analyzation.
I mean, you joke, but that would be really interesting.
That's what I think a smart toilet is. Like that's actually smart
It
toilet.
sends all the data to your doctor.
Right.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
take a poo and it's like, Eric, you have testicular cancer.
Okay, don't joke about that,
Yikes.
buddy.
Sorry.
All right.
Too soon.
Just thought I had not enough iron in my diet.
There's nothing funny about ball cancer.
Okay.
All right, so we're not buying the $8,500 toilet.
No.
Oh, this one's cool. VR projector technology.
This is pretty cool.
That looks pretty sick.
How much of like what's at CES does eventually like?
That's a good question. I actually think it's a pretty low percentage of like CES
it?
items that actually make it to like
Is it
mainstream
a place to like
consumer tech.
test reactions
I think
for
so.
large companies in general?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's the same for like car shows. You have these like
Yeah, that never make
the
it.
cars that are cool
So
looking.
is this an entertainment conference?
kind of, and it is entertaining. You walk around and you're kind of like bewildered by a lot of things.
So what's the purpose? Is it just like every company has an R&D department, and like is it kind of like Google's 20% rule, or
Yeah.
like, you know, 3M with their accidental technology breakthroughs? Let's just show this and see if people like it. Actually, 3M had a dope one. Did you see the replacement for bubble wrap?
No, but this sounds awesome.
Oh yeah. Well, 3M is an incredible manufacturing company. That was my first job out of college, and we would go to like trade shows and events and get like behind the scenes and stuff in St. Paul, and it's wild actually what some of the stuff that 3M has come up with. But it was bubble wrap that's like 10 times more efficient.
I thought they just made Scotch tape.
So it's paper. So it's paper, but when then you open, it's paper with like it's shaped in a certain way, cut up in a certain way. When you spread the paper out, it becomes origami.
Wow.
And the concept of origami and the strength of the paper provides enough support to protect like a glass, like a wine glass.
Damn.
So you get like efficiency, no plastic, all that stuff.
No, 3M is one of those companies that
I
like
think it was at CES.
everybody uses 3M products without knowing it. Really.
Yeah, it's integrated in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, unfortunately, the very first use case for this technology is definitely going to be porn.
Oh, for this projector, I was thinking I would watch like a basketball game with like a 3D rendering of like the full court on my table. That'd be cool.
Wouldn't be as cool. That's going to be the coolest thing about the Vision Pro is the courtside seats.
Oh
I
yeah,
thought you were going to say the
porn.
Get your head out of the gutter, man.
No, you did that.
God.
You did that.
Dude, this one was so silly. The groundbreaking. This toothbrush, it's like looks like a mouth guard. And it just auto brushes all your
It
teeth.
brush your teeth in 10 seconds.
This shit's been around for
Not
like
buying
10
that.
years.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, it's not doing that good of a
I
job.
guarantee you that Nick knows 30 people selling this right
I
now.
can guarantee you it doesn't work.
A 10-second brushing, that's not enough.
There's
No.
no way that works well.
There's no way.
No way. Pass. Pass.
Yeah.
Hard pass. Air taxi.
It's just another
Looks like a plane.
another helicopter. Just like a different use case for a helicopter.
Hyundai.
I do know a guy who invested in like an electric plane company, and they kind of build stuff like that. It looks pretty
I
sick.
love the idea of like super safe helicopter travel though.
Like personal
I
aircraft.
love I'm not getting a jet. I'm getting a super safe, dope helicopter like that.
There's no way a helicopter is going to be safer than a jet.
I'm just saying that
Yeah,
I'd like that.
if it was safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of swore off helicopters after Kobe. Like I just made a personal agreement that I was
there
like,
are a lot
I'm
of
done.
people that it's definitely more dangerous than a plane.
Yeah.
Still less dangerous than getting in a car.
I'm not a
yeah.
helicopter fan myself. We got a follow-up one, right?
Oh yeah, it's like
Where's this follow-up
I
thread?
sent it on a different on the Notion.
On the Notion. Oh, no, I got it.
All right, where are the winners? I want some big
Okay, wait, these were weird. The moonwalkers. These are just, what are these, like rollerblade? They're
Pass.
like roller skates that like roller skate for you? Make you walk like slightly faster?
This is insane.
Do you remember Heelys? Heelys was like a
You say this is insane, but I can see every single Zoomer on the street wearing these things within like.
Do you remember the shoe
6
that had a
months.
wheel in the back, and
Yeah,
if you like,
Heelys,
if
right?
you went on your heels, you could just like glide for a while. This
Yeah.
is like an upgraded version of that.
Oh, there was such a good meme going around with like the average Ethereum user versus the average
Oh,
Solana
stuff
user.
like this pisses
It was
me
so
off.
funny. It was just a guy doing like Healy stunts. and
Who
then there's-
needs to get somewhere that fast? Like, what about like a walk in the park?
What about? What
Like
about
the point of the walk in the park is that you're taking a leisurely stroll. Like, who needs to
What
run?
about when you're walking through that part of town and there's like way too many homeless people? Do you want to like lead like a
I mean, if you want to
leisurely
commute,
stroll?
if this is a commute walking device, then I can
it's
kind
just
of
a
get
more
that.
efficient way to go.
I don't believe in
It's like-
maximum efficiency.
No, it's
at
like
all
walking in the airport on the thing that goes a little bit faster. That
Never
little,
do it.
That little
times.
escalator.
Couldn't catch me dead on that.
Oh, I
Come on, do
always
you-
use it.
Never do it.
Do you miss the yellow pages?
I do. I do. I
Wait,
do.
hold on. You never
That was
go.
nice.
You never go
Yeah.
on the horizontal escalator.
Yeah, and the white pages.
How wild is that? That
I
you used
miss
to be able
it.
to just look up some girl and just call her and have her dad pick up.
Yeah, dude, it was great.
I had my own. I had my own line.
Pick
and
up the
You
my
had to,
own
like, pay to
my own
not be
landline
listed.
in the
Yeah.
house.
Is Samantha home?
Who is this?
Yeah, no, I don't get on that thing.
Dude,
I look at those plebs and I'm like,
No,
you
it's be-
guys are missing
it's
out.
because you got the people that
I'm
just
using my legs.
they stand on there and they jam it up, right?
yeah, those people,
Oh, they kill it.
they kill it. Yeah.
Steven, pull up the. I don't know if there's any more in here, but I want to pull. Oh yeah, there are more in here.
The people that get on that thing, those people are going to the bad place.
No, but I'm
and
walking.
don't move.
I'm
No,
walking
I know you're
on them.
walking. I know you're walking.
All right, yo, this
but the
hologram
people
is pretty
that don't
trippy.
walk on it are going to the bad place.
This is
I agree.
hollow cadets.
Okay,
thing?
Or the escalator. Dude,
Oh,
getting on the escalator
dude.
and not moving.
stand to the right.
You're going to the bad place.
Just stand to the right.
You're going to the bad place.
Okay, we're
At
back.
least stand on the right.
We're back on the Twitter here. We got a hologram, like a 3D,
Dude.
like photorealistic rendering. This is pretty cool. I mean,
Oh,
that's
man.
amazing.
If I could have a just photorealistic holographic Armand with me at all times, just whatever he's doing, like I just see.
What are you doing, Armand?
Just live stream in.
Yeah,
Live stream
that'd be
in.
That's
nice.
the world I want to live in. Another transparent TV. Apparently, the future our TVs are just in the middle of rooms
and they fold.
and they fold.
Yeah.
All right. CES.
Very
I'll,
advanced.
I'll see it in person next year. You guys want to go? Alfalfa meetup.
I'll go if I get a free ticket again.
We should definitely
It's like
go.
$200-300.
Well, I got a free one last time.
No. Well, if you can get us all free ones, sure. But it's
Okay.
like it's like an easy ticket.
I want Steven to go to the other tab that has the one that I shared separately in the Notion.
Oh, you still want more?
Wait, which one?
The last one. This is my vote for best.
Okay,
hold up. I
okay.
have to
Let's see
find
the
it.
best one.
I have to find it.
It's the exoskeleton, dude.
What I want to say is
Oh.
I think this would be fun to attend.
exoskeleton.
I can't watch this on Twitter.
Wait,
I
hold
want the
up.
real thing.
Hold up.
There
I
it
want
is.
to go shopping.
Where?
Down.
This?
That one. This thing.
AI powered exoskeleton.
Okay, so this
All right,
thing.
now we're talking.
This thing, you attach it to your body, and then it has like leg attachments. It has a 1 horsepower electric motor inside of it that can just move your legs for you and run at a 12 mile per hour speed. Like this to me seems like the type of groundbreaking tech that will be sort of everywhere eventually. I'm imagining like all the soldiers, all the police officers, they all wear this thing. This is like RoboCop right now.
That sounds terrifying.
But like you're just enhanced. Like you're still you, but you have this exoskeleton thing that allows you to do faster and stronger.
Wow.
This is cool. This is my vote.
I can't wait to show up on the pickleball.
Go,
court
go,
with this
gadget.
thing.
Dude, I was wondering, like,
Go,
like
go.
imagine like in the NBA or something. You got like guys that are doing this,
My
like
overhead's
jumping
gonna
out
be
of the gym.
700 miles an hour. The ball explodes when I hit it.
Yeah, right. Like you're gonna have
I'm
to.
gonna kill grandma.
Yeah, you're gonna have to outlaw
It's gonna
these
be
things
bad.
in like
We're
sport.
all cyborgs.
Oh,
No, I love
man.
this. This is my vote.
Okay,
Okay.
we're all gonna be
I would
cyborgs
use
pretty
that.
soon. God damn,
Can you imagine Steven playing pickleball with that?
I
yeah,
can.
still mediocre.
Yeah.
I would be mad at that if it
Oh,
weren't so
dude.
obviously a troll.
Oh man.
So obviously a troll. What are we gonna do next? Oh yeah, we get some. Moving on to we get some hot takes.
Hot takes.
Oh,
This is a segment.
I want to
new-
get your takes on some takes.
It's kind of
gotta-
a new segment here.
I heard you like some
Yeah,
takes.
hot
Hot
take
takes, so I
segment?
got some.
I love meta takes. Anything meta.
Okay,
Yeah, let's get
First
some hot
take.
takes.
but Hayden Adams.
Hayden
Okay.
Adams. Who's this?
All I want is a large real-world company with millions of users to YOLO a token with a massive airdrop. Like if Costco airdropped a token based on a combination of your time as a member and amount spent on the store. Someone will be a first mover and it will change the world. If Costco dropped a token,
Okay,
that'd be unbelievable.
so yeah, like the reason why I wanted to talk about this because like I had this epiphany when the BTC ETF was approved. I had this realization that everything in the future is going to be tokenized. But then I saw this tweet and I was like, "Holy shit! Like somebody has to do it. Somebody actually has to be the
I think
first
this is,
mover."
There was somebody that did it, Adidas, but they did it as an NFT and a collab. And I think this token representative of your like purchasing and your time or something, some combination of things that have to do with your activity with the brand and the retailer as a token makes way more sense. And people can feel the tangible value of that much more immediately. And I think like Adidas did prove that it can be huge. It was huge. So yeah, I agree with this.
Let's play this out. So if Costco were to drop a token, the market cap of the token would be like over $1 billion for sure.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
it would be nuts.
So
and
fast.
people would definitely trade it, right?
yeah.
Which means that there would be thousands of people throughout the world who just suddenly had all this money, and they'd be like, "Oh my god!" and they would sell it and get a bunch of money. It would be nuts. It would be the craziest thing that ever happened to the space.
Honestly, this exact way this one is positioned too, like combination of your time as a member and the amount of money you spend at the store is so good. Like people
perfect.
would love
you would
that.
see so many feel good stories. There'd be like some woman on the news be like,
Yeah.
"This store saved
Changed
me.
my
I used to
life."
shop,
Yeah.
changed my life. Now I'm a
Yeah.
millionaire." There'd be it's a bunch of women who are just like millionaires now because they had to shop at
So can I
Costco
ask
so
you guys,
much.
like, what do we need to see happen for that to become a reality? Is that just purely regulatory? Like, if we get clarity on what is a security and if they can register with like transparency, is that what we are?
Probably, yeah.
Well, they're going through the litigation right now with Coinbase, right? I'm sure you're following along with
Yeah.
that. Coinbase against
Yeah.
the SEC is happening right now.
Had a big day in court today. I
Big day in
saw
court today.
The judge was not having the bullshit.
Yeah, SEC's full of
Oh,
shit.
Heard about that.
So like, I feel like that is another incremental step towards this future, perhaps.
Yeah, I have no idea.
It's going to be just like a waterfall. Like it's going to be nothing. And then like the second like a Disney drops a token, it's all over. Then like within 6 months, every single large brand that exists drops a token.
Dude,
I often complain about
so nuts.
crypto, and I still will. But it's stuff like this that is the reward for being an early adopter. Like the sooner, like no matter what I say, I always still tell people to play the game. And I say, like, you'll probably lose everything. Like there are so many reasons you could wake up tomorrow and just you had the wrong you messed with the wrong contract with the wrong with one of your wallets and you just completely like gone. It's evaporated.
Yeah.
Or you bought an NFT from the wrong website or you clicked a link in an email. I could never train, and I am susceptible to that. Like anybody can get hurt by crypto. Anybody. Fucking what's his name? The founder of the anyway, so many people. Who's the founder of Kevin Rose?
Moonbirds?
Kevin Rose,
I knew
right?
that's what you were thinking.
Like even Kevin Rose can get hurt, but that ability to understand how to actually like be a mover and participate means that hopefully during like the entire span of like crypto and your participation in it, you end up like in a positive position because of the number of serendipitous things that might occur, like a massive airdrop.
Well, I think you're right. Like you got to you got to pay some attention to the risks and everything. But if I think about this from a first principles standpoint, this is just like loyalty rewards points that are just tradable across all asset classes, which is like way better than non-tradable rewards points.
It is, but they're also worth real money.
Right, and they should be.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah,
Why?
it's much better this way.
Yeah, why shouldn't they be?
Much better this way.
And people are trading them on a secondary market even today, just at a fucking discount that they're swallowing because the secondary market sucks. But if you can build crypto into it, it's just better for users and for the loyalty rewards issuers, probably.
Yeah. It's such a paradox. Crypto is an ultimate paradox.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that's it was just kind of a funny thing I wanted to look at.
Sorry for getting
No.
so serious. I'm the show.
I think it's a good topic, and I think it's fun to pontificate on a world where every brand has like NFTs and a token.
Good
I
happen.
think we do. I think we do get there.
Yeah.
Somebody just has to figure out how to do it in a way that doesn't burn all of your customers. Right. That's the.
And it's cool that it's coming from Hayden Adams too, like somebody who is like a person like with legitimacy and has done an airdrop.
Yeah. I also just want to close what I said by saying I think about that all the time. And it was yesterday I saw, shout out to RSA from Bankless, Ryan Sean Adams, who had a long tweet about exactly what I'm talking about. So read his tweet to get a better sense of what I'm talking about, because he's obviously a lot better at explaining these things.
Armand, what do you think about Hayden's biography tagline?
What is it?
Inventor of the Uniswap protocol. What do you feel about the word inventor there?
I like it.
You like it?
Yeah.
Are you the inventor of Steno AI?
It's different. I feel like what he's doing deserves that word. But yeah, you could argue that.
What's the equation?
Actually,
what's the equation he came up? Y equals
KX, but like
was he like the first?
I thought somebody just postulated. I think
inventor is
like
nice.
Vitalik like postulated it in like a blog post or something. And
I
he
think
just
if
did
you
it.
like invented the idea of a decentralized
wrong.
exchange, you deserve to maybe
yeah,
be
like
like
I
an
don't think
inventor.
he invented the idea of a DEX.
Then
I think he
he's a
just
founder.
executed the best first
Then
one,
he's a
which is an
founder.
incredible accomplishment.
I think he's a founder, not an
Maybe
inventor.
am I being pedantic?
I redact.
I think
my
I'm being
statement.
pedantic.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's okay.
It's okay. It happens.
All right. You want
What
to
else
dive
we
in?
got?
Want
Yeah,
to
what
dive
else
into
we
this
got?
This
quote?
one's your guys's.
Yeah, I just wanted to
You want me to read it?
It's a bit
Sure.
of a left turn. I
All
poured
right,
I poured a
Wayne-
drink on this one.
Wayne Burkett. Actually, it's Wanye. Excuse me, not Wayne.
Wanye?
Wanye Burkett on
Wanye Burkett.
Twitter's says maybe the most important thing you learn by attending public school is that we are all at the mercy of the bottom quintile. The rules you follow in life will be based on the behavior of the bottom quintile. The taxes you pay are to support the bottom quintile. The greatest risks to your life and property will come from these people. And the dearth of comfortable public spaces is because you have to allow the bottom quintile to be there. Our zoning laws are developed for fear of the bottom quintile. It's probably best to learn and accept this early.
Spicy.
What do you guys think about that?
well read.
Spicy.
Thank you.
I'm just here to read.
Steven, you want to lead us off?
I wanted
on your
Armand's take. I
I
wanted
don't
to read
know. I'm the reader. The reader can't.
take? Yeah, it's popcorn
respond.
to Steven.
Yeah.
it. I mean,
I mean, you obviously feel things when you read this.
the take is it's probably correct, right?
I think it's directionally correct.
It's correct. It's especially correct in like free liberal Western societies, because I think we've made a trade-off in our society to basically make concessions to the bottom quintile in the name of, having like sort of like a free and open society. This probably doesn't like apply if you're in like Singapore, right? Because you could just via authoritarian force just extract the bottom quintile from your society, but
but they're not doing that.
Well, wait
create like a
second.
bit of a
What do
dystopia,
you
right?
mean by extract them? Because they're there. It's just really
it's
high
true.
up.
You will always have. That's a good point. You'll just be
No, it's
left
just
with a
really
new bottom.
high up.
Yeah,
I mean, you've heard how incredible life is in Singapore, right? Like everyone is doing great.
And, like,
Everyone.
Norway and stuff.
In the bubble,
Specifically, like,
in the
I
bubble
know
where
about-
they've like isolated you from the bottom quintile, right?
I mean, all of Singapore, as far as I understand it from Singaporeans, is like everyone's doing good. That's the beauty of it. Like everyone can go to a good school. Everyone makes enough money. Everyone is doing good. Like that's what they've done is they've raised the bottom up so high, is my understanding.
I mean, it's an interesting question, right? Like if you wanted to and the law allowed it, you could just roll through downtown San Diego. You could pick up everybody's tent. You could round everybody up and throw them in a car and just drive them off to the middle of nowhere, right? And then at the end of it, you'd be like, look at this great society we have. We've eliminated homelessness and all the crime is gone because we basically just, even anybody who was like, we thought they might be a criminal. We don't bother with a trial. That's just too cumbersome. It's still better for society as a whole if we just round them all up and just take them away. And then you'd be left with a situation where you're like, wow, look at this amazing society. But then you'd have but at what cost type question.
Imagine
right?
if you were like at the 19th percentile or the 20th, right at the cusp, and you got fucking sent off with like the bottom 1%. Yeah, like you'd be like, no, I'm almost there. I'm cool.
So is the argument that by attending public school you get direct exposure to this reality?
Maybe I'm kind of like bypassing the public school thing.
Yeah, I think the public school
didn't
thing
get
isn't
that
that
far.
interesting. I think the main unlock of this is the idea that like,
That exists. And
yeah, like
It's your
all of the,
risk.
like a lot of the checks and balances you have imposed upon you in life are as a result of this, the group of people that is sort of not, because the average person, even like the bulk of the average, they want to be good, they're intelligent, they want to live a good life, they're not bad people, right? But then in a society, you have these outliers. Maybe they're outliers in that they're particularly evil. Maybe they're particularly stupid or in need of help, but they're far from the mean. And then, we build a society that either bends over backwards to take care of those people, or maybe you do something akin to Singapore when it comes to say like crime and homelessness for
Yeah.
one. I don't know Singapore, very, very well, so I don't want to comment on it so much. Other than I know that like they are fairly draconian with certain things. Like there's a reason I think why the
Yeah.
society is so clean and there is so little crime.
Oh, they definitely are.
you know.
I don't know. I look at this, and a couple of things stand out. I'm like, well, this is just the other side of the coin of like, we're also at the mercy of the rich. It's like, sure.
How so?
Well, we are. Like, that's the main thing that everyone always talks about. Like, especially younger people, they just believe that the world is run.
Wait, do you feel that's true, or do you just think that's what people believe?
Oh, that's a different question. But I can see how the way I said that would make you think that I also, yeah. I think that both of those are true. I don't believe it the way that most people believe it. The way I believe that we're at the mercy of the rich is that the rich are in positions that allow them to not like this full dictation of like reality, but we're at the mercy of them through the same, like if you just flip the entire statement, like, do they have a say about like public spaces? Do they have a say about like zoning laws? Of course they do. Their tax dollars are very important. Their vote is very important. Like the opposite is also true. I just think like that's reality. You have to face what is true for the bottom rung and the top rung of society. And as far as the bottom rung goes specifically, I think there's like a general empathy that's necessary as a citizen of any country to realize like that's just part of life. Like I wouldn't be able to go to work and exist if it weren't for everybody. Like society doesn't exist without everybody functioning and having a say and having a roof over their head. Like we have way too large of a percentage of people in the United States, in California, zooming into San Francisco, LA, San Diego, that are homeless. That's kind of an outlier problem. But if you just look, because that's like below the rung, that's like completely, those people aren't voting. Like
Right.
those people aren't even in this quintile. Like that's a different problem. So I don't want to like bring that into the problem. But if you look at just the bottom quintile, society doesn't operate without them being okay. So for me, all of it's okay.
Is that true that society doesn't operate without them?
I think so, but I actually had the same point that Armand made, which is like, I think like pure capitalism, right? If you just allow that, I don't know if Singapore does that, but if you do that, you get like people that get left behind in a way more dramatic way than what we're used to. And like, I don't think we want to live in a society where like people are literally like dying on the street. Like that gets worse for everyone, because also then they have to find ways to survive, which might be unpalatable to people who,
And it might come at your risk.
right. Like you might be in
Like
the
your
top
danger.
quintile and they kill you or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Like we don't want that to happen.
We
So
don't.
I think, I didn't go to public school. I went to private school. And I'm reminded of something from private school. This might not be applicable, but like, I just want to point out that like in private school, you also get these lessons. Like, so we went on a hike up Half Dome when we were in 8th grade. And the guy who was leading the hike, he goes, "Hey guys, just so you know, we're only as fast going up this hike as our slowest person, because we can't leave anybody behind. Like we can't have somebody dying on this mountain." And like, that's the same principle, I think, as what we're talking about, where like, you just can't have people getting left behind to the point where they're dying.
Interesting.
I think that's a different
Just
principle.
to add to that, like when we did Kilimanjaro, whoever was like really feeling it that day would go to the front. Like we always like had the slowest person go to the front. So I think that's a reality.
That's applicable, like obviously in like the family unit, right?
Yeah.
You don't leave family behind. It's also applicable in like maybe certain social groups where you've like all opted into like a particular ideology and cause, and you're all trying in a like a Navy SEAL unit, right? But it's not necessarily one-to-one that is the case in like a society, especially where like people in society have sort of opted out of the society. And, we are at a point now where there are people in California, right, who are like, wait, why are we bending over backwards to help these people who just like don't care? They have like actually opted out. They're not my family.
So what do you do?
It's a good nuance, though. I like it.
I know, but like
I'm not saying I have the answer. I'm saying like there are areas of the world that have basically decided like the answer is like in the old days, the answer was basically like your family takes care of you, or you get left out on your own and you either die or you end up in jail. Right.
Well, I'll never forget when
That's what happened.
I'll never forget when I learned, I think this was from Jordan Peterson. He had a classroom lecture where he was like, "Do you guys realize that, so for example, to join the military, there's an IQ requirement, and that I think it was like 8, maybe 10% of society cannot do that, cannot get in." And I'm not saying
feels low.
right. So the point being like, the reason that he made the Army statement was obviously there are high IQ people in the military. That wasn't to say it's to say there are a series of jobs that are commensurate to your IQ that a person can get in life. And, it starts all the way from like, janitorial services all the way up to like Nobel Prize winning physicist, right? And that is correlated to some degree to your IQ and your ability to get that job. But there's a rung of society that is unable to get any job. And the job that has the most open door policy to being able to like let someone in is the military. And yet there is a cutoff that causes 10% of society to not be able to participate. So we don't have a solution for 10% of society. So if that is what this tweet is referring to, then I really don't know. But if it's referring to the rung that's like operating in society and able to participate in society, then that was what my statement was more in direction toward.
Yeah.
But that blew me away when I learned it. I was like, oh my God, that's a lot of people.
That's an interesting thought exercise to like look at the most accepting of institutions and say
Right.
that like even in this, the most open of them, 10% of society is going to be left behind by this. And what do you do with them?
What do you do?
Well, like throughout the entirety of human history, well, maybe not the entirety of human history, but the bulk of like recent human history, they were taken care of like by like the church and by family. And if you didn't have those two things, you were definitely out of luck, right?
Yeah.
And then we introduced the state into the picture, and it's an interesting problem because either way, like you have like two options, right? You sort of say like, okay, the state has to be a fallback to take care of this segment of society, or you leverage the state to basically like just extract that portion of society from society, right? Both of these things are sort of undesirable. In like one sense, you're saying like you're kind of giving somebody like a disturbing amount of power, right? There's some collective group or person who's like, you're below the line. You're gone.
Yeah.
Like we don't. You are a negative for society, and now you're out of society. Either you end up in jail, or I don't know, you starve somewhere. Like I don't know. That's bad. But the other end is also bad too. When you're just like, we have to take care of everybody, and you just start creating all of these like bureaucracy, right? And then you create this like infrastructure that is just a bunch of like self-interested individuals or institutions that just sort of like go on existing to exist, and then they don't even solve the problem in the first place. And that, like, that's
totally agree with
that's
you
not
there.
good either.
That's terrible.
Like like healthcare is a good example of this. Like on one end, people just die because they can't get healthcare, and that sounds bad. But when you go the other end, you end up having like, they remember like the death panels, which is, maybe extreme branding, but like if you have like rationing of health, you end up having a group of government officials or some bureaucracy saying you can't get that health care, which is also bad. Like both of these extremes are kind of bad at the extreme. It doesn't seem like an easy problem to solve, right?
Yeah.
Hookham makes it a little easier. He says, just jettison everybody who wears clothes in the sauna.
Couldn't agree more. Oh man,
Oh, that's a good one.
that was a great.
I'm gonna
little
wrap
argument.
that on that one.
That was a great little argument.
Oh, all right. Last spicy take here. This is from Matt Von Swole. Is that his real name? Sounds like this is Rectum's alter ego account.
Yeah.
This is alt. Edmund Von Swole. Wow. I just gave you a new nickname. Super hot take. The normalization of therapy is becoming a bad thing for society. I'm seeing more and more people use the fact that they are in therapy as a get out of jail free card for awful behavior, believe everything their therapist says as gospel truth with no further research required, equate the act of going to therapy with the actions of being a good person. I'm not saying therapy is bad for everyone, but I'm seeing a trend of less personal responsibility for bad behavior and a lot more talk about therapy as the only solution.
Hot take.
Thoughts?
Super hot
Thoughts,
take.
bearded one.
He was right. That is a super hot take. Armand, I know you want to go first.
I don't think I want to go first.
You said you wanted to go first.
No.
We put this in the pre-roll, and you were like, "Ooh, I have some thoughts
Okay,
on that."
so
Didn't say I want to
maybe
go first.
I can
said
tee-
I want to dig in.
maybe I'll tee you up.
I want
Team
to
up.
dig in.
Team up,
Okay,
baby.
so I've never been to therapy, but I've seen the exact same. Like, this is something that resonates with me as somebody who never goes to therapy, but seeing everybody who does with all these fucking problems. I'm kind of like, yeah, I agree. And also, mostly I agree with the point that last sentence where he says that, like, you take the personal responsibility and accountability away and you give that agency to this third party only. And it's like, yeah, well, my therapist, that's it. And that's the part that I think I completely agree with. Did that tee you up for anything?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot here, right? Like, first of all, more people going to therapy is by far a net positive. What he is doing is trying to give a hot take. And actually, of his 3 points, all of them are correct. Like, everything he's saying is correct. The only one that's a little weird is, like, I've never met someone who goes to therapy with the intention of trying to illustrate to people that they are a good person. I'm not aware of that meme. But the going to therapy as a get out of jail free card for awful behavior, totally seen that.
Oh, yeah.
Totally seen victim culture
Oh, yeah.
that is just generally sort of like intertwined with therapy lately. Totally seen the mainstream commercialization of therapy. And I do see number 2, which is they believe everything their therapist says is gospel truth with no further research required. That's one of those counteractive sort of like unfortunate things that occurs with society that is like starting to embrace therapy and believing that this is the expert. And so like this is what my therapist said this week. I got to break up with my boyfriend, and then they do that, which is crazy because your therapist is not supposed to tell you to break up with your boyfriend. Your therapist is supposed to ask you questions. So one of the other unfortunate things that comes with the mainstreamization of therapy is that there are more bad. First of all, there's a huge shortage of therapists, and there's a lot of bad therapists out there, but there's a lot of incredible therapists out there. So this is one of those things that's like, man, super hot take, super true through that lens.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to take the real conversation and the real discussion of like therapy and is it good or bad?
No, it's good.
It's incredibly positive for society to continue moving in that direction. I just think the loud voice and the example that keeps surfacing is all the people that are using it in an obnoxious way. Like I'm going to make a lot of people feel bad probably with this kind of a comment, but like the people that just like are doing this whole, man, I don't even know if I can go there. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's being overused. Like a lot of people waking up that day and just like having a mental health day, like I know is just becoming a little bit too.
Yeah, it's not the therapy thing. This thing is like close. It's the mental health thing.
Yeah, it's just becoming like a little bit too liberally used for moments that I don't think actually that's what therapy is trying to help you with.
Can I ask? Because like, again, I've never been, but I appreciate both your points or your opinions on this. Like on the one hand, I think we have this like victim culture, which you're alluding to. And then we have sort of this therapy as a cop-out, which is different, I think.
What's therapy as a cop-out?
So I think what he calls it a get-out-of-jail-free card.
Oh, okay.
Which is, it's sort of like the you remove your own agency to help yourself ever. I kind of feel like a lot of these people, and I mean these people, like a lot of people just don't want to do the work. You know, like you can look at anything in life and whether it's like getting fit or getting wealthy or whatever, it's like a lot of people aren't willing to do the work. And I feel like what he's touching on is like the therapy is a way to just like absolve yourself from the work.
Well, what it's doing is what some people are doing is they're being an asshole to people, and they're saying, sorry, I have a thing.
I'm going to therapy about it.
I'm going to therapy about, or they don't even say I'm going to therapy. They're just like, sorry, I have a thing. I'm like, you know, I had some trauma in this area, or like I'm doing plant medicine and I recently exposed that I have work in this area, but like what they just did to you is like super fucked up and super deceitful and awful behavior. Like you couldn't get away with that before, but you can get away with that now because you just told me that you're going through this.
I'm working on it.
I'm working on it and this difficult thing, but like, I don't think those two cancel each other. If you're an asshole to somebody,
right? I don't actually think it's the work.
You owe me. Like,
I don't
you
think
owe me an apology, like a real one.
I don't think you're actually doing the work. The work is you be less of an asshole. Instead, you're just going to a therapist, and that absolves you.
Which actually is exactly what he says, is that less personal responsibility for bad behavior. That's exactly what's happening is like, yeah, people are not taking responsibility. They're absolving themselves by saying like, man, I went to this therapy session and brought up all this shit from my childhood and I'm just going to be kind of erratic.
Yeah, I just acknowledge that I'm an asshole. Like, and that's just...
Or this is what you're going to get.
Yeah,
like, this is what it's going to be. And I'm just going to have days where I can't operate. I can't work. I can't play. I can't do anything. And it's like, that is not what therapy is about. So therapy is going to get twisted into this thing. I mean, there are commercials on TV for this now. Again, I still think that's a positive.
Right.
More people are going to be okay going to therapy that like, I stopped doing sessions before tech started. I couldn't do anything during that time, but like I hope to get back into it. But like I hope to do therapy for the rest of my life. I think doing therapy is incredible. Like I've talked about before on this podcast, like it's a normalization that I hope occurs like we have in Argentina that I've talked about, where 80+% of society has a therapist because they view it as like, I got someone for my knee when I have a knee problem, or not even a problem. That's a bad example. It's like you've got someone for every part of your life. you've got your chiropractor, you also need to have your therapist. Like that's just something you do for not when you have a problem, but for, Kyle Bogeman, my trainer, just talks about like sort of this idea of like hygiene, like physical hygiene. You do the sit-ups and the pull-ups and the squats every day for physiological hygiene. This is mental hygiene. To go to a therapist is mental hygiene. It's spiritual hygiene. It's extremely spiritual to go to certain types of therapists, like the type of therapist that I went to. A Jungian psychoanalyst is a very spiritual journey you go on with that person.
And it should be as normal as brushing your teeth.
Totally
just
should
like
be.
hygiene.
Totally should be. But it's hard to disagree with this, in general.
Steven, you got any takes on this? Because I can also bring up that other point of like the victimhood culture.
I mean, I was laughing when you guys were chatting and this is a true story, and I'm going to tell it because I doubt he listens to this podcast. But there's a guy I play pickleball with who's notorious for getting like really angry, like in the middle of nobody wants to play with him because he will just, you hit a bad shot, he starts tilting and start hitting the ball over the fence, and there was like a point like in one of the games where at the end he's like, just sorry, like, hey, if I have pickleball anger issues, I'm going to therapy about it.
Yeah, right.
But then it was just like, yeah, like I'm going to therapy. I know.
Yeah. Instead, just don't be such a dick on the pickleball court.
I know. I mostly agree with this tweet, and I think therapy is fine. But I think we've. This to me is like it's like the DEI stuff now, where like there was a point where it was good for the society to sort of like acknowledge like racism and to do some stuff about it. But then like the pendulum swings so far that
right.
you're just like, we need like 20% of all United pilots to be like transgender midgets by the year. Like I can't even say that word anymore. I'm so canceled.
Yeah, we're done. We're done.
Oh my god. Jimmy's not even here to cut that.
Somebody bleep that quick.
Jesus.
Like there's a point where it's just like, okay, like I see the original intent of this, but like now we're at a point where like this is not a good result. And like I look at society and like everybody's like obsessed with mental health now. And they think like there's like a complete abdication of personal responsibility in some people. And it's just chill to be like, yeah, like I have mental health problems. Or like, oh, I'm taking a mental health break. Or I'm just like, it's the type of thing that you can only do in like a very like sort of late stage abundant society, right? Like if we were in the tribe
Correct.
5,000 years ago and like a saber-toothed tiger was on the perimeter, you couldn't be like, I'm just taking a mental health break today.
By the way, same thing
you know?
applies with like workplaces. You can only get away with this in a late stage growth company where you can say like, I need 2 weeks to go deal with so-and-so issue. Like if you're building a startup, good luck.
Okay, so
Good luck.
this talks about my follow-on point, which is like this victimhood culture, where Stephen, you and I have talked about this offline at dinner, where like it seems like everybody in this like new generation, like life comes at them the same way it comes at everybody, right? Like life happens, and they take normal life to be like, oh my god, I have like massive anxiety, I have depression, I have this. It's like, but what you're actually just experiencing is just like the vicissitudes, the ups and downs of normal life that everybody deals with, and everybody feels some level of anxiety or some level of depression or whatever, and they're taking this to this thing where it's like, no, this is like a me thing.
Yeah,
maybe,
yes,
maybe.
that's correct.
I think like there are plenty of situations where people are going through really seriously difficult stuff.
Of course there are, but like we're
But
also
I think
at a
you're-
point now
you're
where like
talking
people
to-
are just like any level of discomfort or hard thing I have to do that I experience in my life.
If we're focused on that, then sure, 100%.
Like
100%.
it's just very cool now. Like
But it's hard to parse this, right? Because there are people that literally are saying exactly what Eric just said in those exact same words, but their experience of it couldn't be more real.
There are, but like literally every person under the age of like 22 now has like crippling anxiety,
That's true too.
right? And at a certain point in time, it's just like, where do you just say, hey, life is hard sometimes, like deal with it? Like at a certain point, there's a certain point where you have to just deal with it or just do things that are kind of hard or uncomfortable.
Well,
Right?
the whole thing is actually an irony. See, the thing about mental health that's fascinating is that the moment you open the door, which is what most people are afraid of doing, is going to a therapist for the first time and exploring their feelings. When you open that door, you're going to expose yourself to things that you did not know were there. 100%, if you do the work, you're going to find things, right? So then the question becomes like, what has been hiding that needs to get revealed, and what is there to gain from doing that work? And one of the ironic things is that the moment you open that door and the moment you begin to look for those things, you're going to find them. And the moment you find them and you put attention toward them, you're going to find more of them and more of them. And the moment that you begin to be conscious of the fact that you might even have anxiety and or depression, guess what you find? Anxiety and or depression. And I'm speaking to you from firsthand experience as someone who opened those doors, went down those doors, and knew that like by embracing and looking for those things and what was there, you're going to go through episodes and phases where you're like introducing anxiety into your life in order to do the work. But I say this with, I know I missed the therapy episode you guys did. I say this as someone who's done it in the most, like the practitioner, the help that I had, the therapist that I had was incredible, like the real deal, not a charlatan, the real deal, and has been life-changing for me. So I've learned a lot about that to be able to comment about it.
Well, when you bring that up, again, as somebody who hasn't gone through this work, but like when you bring up the fact that like you sort of like you introduce it in your life and then you kind of find it, if you invert that, can that also be true? Like if you bring in like gratitude into your life every day, then you kind of find that too, right?
100%.
And like, why aren't we pushing for that?
Well, what we were pushing for before was just, and it worked to a certain degree, was ignoring the feelings, right?
Yeah.
And so it only became, I think I've said before, it's like it only became legal for a man to discuss or acknowledge his emotions.
It's only like 20 years ago that became...
maybe like, 2011 or something, that it became legal for a man to like discuss how he felt. I think we were early in that for, in our friend
tastemakers,
group. Yeah. But like, so I think where attention goes, energy flows. Like whatever you put your attention to, you're going to experience that. Your thoughts create your feelings, create your behaviors. There is nothing more true in the universe than that basic idea of like your good thoughts create good words, create good deeds, which is a tenet of Zoroastrianism, which is something that I believe.
Damn, I thought that was Tony Robbins.
No, did Tony swipe that one?
No, that was from much earlier.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's about...
First religion ever.
Yeah, first religion ever. But it's real, right? Like, to your point, like where you put your attention, you're going to get more of that. That's a simple formula.
Damn, we just solved it. Cool.
What do you think about what Tom Nam said?
What did he say?
Said basic therapy is kind of a symptom of the breakdown of the IRL social network we previously depended on.
Pretty good take. Yeah, there has been a breakdown of our social constructs, right? Like you mentioned that previously in the previous conversation, like the lower quintiles would be supported by the family and the church, and both of those have kind of broken down to a degree.
Yeah, I mean, even without the church too, like in the family, like when we lived in more tightly knit communities, like you were still like a part of the community. But like when we moved to cities, like you became more of a faceless blob, and then in the digital world, like on the internet, you are absolutely just a collection of ones and zeros, and you really kind of disappear, like your humanity in a way.
Most of the popularity and the rise of mental health, or the rise not of mental health, but just generally of like therapy, has a lot to do with what we've discussed with the loneliness epidemic, and this mostly applies to the younger generation. Of course, it applies to every generation, but I think, as you said, 7 minutes ago, there's like a huge percentage of people under the age of 18 that are going through mental health issues. So, yeah, they're going to need something. And I think a lot of them are experiencing these issues in a real way, but they're also the victim of victim culture. Like, imagine that. It's wild. Like, you can be the victim of victim culture.
Yeah, no.
Seriously. You don't even know it.
I agree.
You don't even know it, but
I
you
agree.
are the victim. Like that's why it's so hard
If you've
to
been a
communicate.
victim of victim culture,
That's why it's so hard to communicate to people that you're actually just the victim of victim culture. You're the victim of of this.
Right, because
that's all that's happening.
well, everybody's
that's all that's happening.
everybody's like a product of their environment. If the environment is victimhood culture, then of course you're going to be sort of playing into that on an individual basis.
You can't know. It's like right over your head because how could you see that? How could you see that? You like that? Huh?
I'm just trying. I've just had like so many snooty comments.
Say them. Say them. Luckily, you have a podcast.
I was like, you know, the real irony of victim culture, man. It just makes people victims.
It is. It's hilarious. Yeah, dude.
All right. Well, unless you guys have anything deep you'd like to add, we are just over the 2-hour mark.
That's okay.
I
That's
think
a good mark. That's a
good
mark.
point to wrap it. I was surprised it was that late. Actually, I was
Yeah, I
like,
thought
oh,
we
this
were
is
at
gonna
an
be a
hour and
nice
a
like
half.
1 hour podcast.
No, I
Yeah.
like when we just kind of flow like this, just kind of like meander and flow. That felt
Yeah.
good.
And then went deep into a couple things. Yeah,
Jazz.
toward the end. I liked it. I would love people's feedback. Actually,
Steven likes to play jazz. he
Steven
calls it
loves
jazz.
jazz. I'd love to give people a little behind the scenes, actually. So, like the last episode, remember when I showed up and I was like, guys, I'm just not feeling this topic. Like, can we talk about this topic? And Steven's like, yes, Armand, yes. Like, give it to me. Like, just jazz, baby, jazz.
Don't say that.
This is what I want.
Don't clip that. Do not.
This
clip
is what
that.
I like, baby.
Do
Just
not-
show up and jazz.
Do not clip that.
And that's what Steven likes. He loves the jazz hands, man. No, we love you guys. We'd love your feedback on the pod. Always growing, always evolving, always iterating, always getting better, and having more fun. That's
Hell
what I
yeah.
always say to people is we're having a blast.
That's our
Thank you for
tagline.
being
That's a good
here.
tagline.
Yeah, we're having a blast. Thank you for being here. We love you guys. Love you long time. Alfalfapod.com for all the things.
Alfalfapod.com.
And we'll see you next Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you have not joined us live, we'd love to see you on YouTube. Pop a comment. Let us know you're there, and we'll see you next week. Oh, don't forget about Irresponsibly Long tomorrow. if you're
Yes,
listening to this
tomorrow
live.
we'll be talking about going long
Yes.
in a not responsible
I don't know
way.
if we've properly announced this, or maybe it needs to come from me since you guys are in it. But I'll wrap with that. Is just like, if you don't know, we have this other podcast hosted by Eric and Steven where they actually go into the deep degen aspects of value investing and trading and taking two different views of being irresponsibly long.
Yeah,
and,
if you're not
going deep
if
into
you're
the
not
money.
satisfied.
Yeah.
with the financial.
We do
content,
crypto and
you need
money
more.
light in Alfalfa. If you want crypto and money, heavy, check out Irresponsibly
Yeah,
Long.
thank you for the shout out. Thank you for the shout out. Subscribe to us on YouTube. I think
Yep.
we're youtube.com/
Ir-
irresponsibly long pod.
Yep, nailed it.
Cool.
We got to get one of those link tree things. I'm getting tired of
Should.
saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll put that on my list.
Awesome.
A lot of stuff to do. Anyway, thanks everybody. You've been wonderful. We will see you all here next week. Bye-bye.
Later, everyone.